Good evening, race fans. Welcome here to Legacy Atlanta for tonight's Atlanta 155. My name is Robert Hill Jr. Joining me tonight, as always, is Chris Wright and our good buddy Brent Jones. Guys, how you doing here tonight?
We're doing great. We're doing good. We're healthy again. I'm not feeling sick for the last Monday night, so we should be good.
Well, boys, tonight is a big night here in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series. As we pull up our points, you can see right there Ethan Stanley, Tyler Fody currently locked in to the championship 4. Then is Matthew Weeks, Ethan Burrell currently on the 2 spots that everyone else wants. On the outside, currently Garrison Hogan, Trey Eidson, Chad Frankenfield, Justin Fuller. And making his return tonight is Scott Crump. And essentially, as I was saying to Brent, Chris, before we got going here, everyone pretty much from Frankenfield on back, you can even technically include Eidson and Hogan in here, are in must-win situations if they want to lock in to that final round of the playoffs. It's kind of stretched a little bit from the 4th spot to the 5th spot.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you now, ain't none of those must-wins going to win the race because Nick Massey's taking the checker flag tonight. So.
Well, as we... Go ahead, Brent.
I'm sure Crump will give us our money's worth tonight.
Scott Crump definitely going to be hungry here tonight. As we take a look at the starting grid, I'm just going to quickly point out here, drivers labeled in green, which is only Stanley and Fody, are locked into the championship 4. Those in yellow currently in the championship transfer spots, and those in red on the outside looking in. As you can see from the poll, David Zucker, Nick Massey on the front row, Ethan Stanley, Tate Lytle, row number 2, Braxton DeWeese, Scott Crump, row 3, Ethan Burrell, Johnny Thomas make up row number 4, Matthew Weeks and Justin Fuller round out the top 10. Brent Jones, why don't you take us through here to position number 20?
All right, Jay Connor will start 11. 12, Tyler Fody. A very shocking qualifying by him for his standards. 13th is Trey Holmes. 14th, Jonathan Cutlip. 15th, Michael Hosick. 16th, Garrison Hogan. 17th, Seth Rawls. 18th, Chad Frankenfield. 19th, Trey Eidson. 20th, Leighton Nogard. And I'm going to send the rest to Chris Wright because I don't know where the number was, and I had to try to chat the process.
Chris Wright, why don't you take us through here, position 21 on back.
All right, Tyler Pop's going to start 21st. Vincent Isabella, Gerald Campbell coming from the back, Hunter Smith, David Carpenter, Dustin Dewar, and Joe Francis round out the top 27.
Hardcastle and Jaden Rasimus, by the way, did not put up a time. They are in the race.
And just quickly before we get going green here, 100 laps, no stages, and 4 sets of tires. As we get set to go green here, it's David Tooker, the control car on the inside. We are underway. Green flag racing here at Legacy Atlanta.
Got some wheel spin on some of the guys in the field here at the start. That's going to be a problem all night, even with these cars.
Now, Chris... Chris made his pick of Nick Massey here tonight. Before we get really underway here, who's your pick to take the win tonight? Is Justin Fuller already ripping the outside wall?
I'm going to go with Tate Lytle tonight.
Tate Lytle, good pick there, as it looks like somebody falling back on the inside. Not sure if I saw who that was. Maybe Dave Carpenter there. As
I don't know about falling back on the inside, but Tyler Fody just went to the top of 3 down into 3 and 4. Past a bunch of cars. I was wondering if that would be an option tonight. I didn't get a chance to talk to too many guys, They did say that you could run the top, and it would really hurt the tires in the long run. But if you wanted to make hay on a short run, you go up to that fence and use them up.
Well, you can see it here just from this view. By the way, my pick to take the victory tonight, I'm going to go with the Hungry Hippo, the 90 of Scott Crump here tonight. He's going to be hungry coming back from his penalty that had him sitting for an entire calendar week, and makes it a must-win for him this evening. So we have picks of Massey, Crump, and who did you have, Brett Jones?
Tate Lytle.
Always a good pick in Tate Lytle.
Tate just won the truck race last night, so...
Yeah, hey, congratulations, by the way, to our very own Chris Wright, advancing to the Championship 4 in the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series. Good job, Chris.
Well, thanks, guys. It was a fun season, and looking forward to seeing what happens when we race for this championship. But congrats to Tate Lytle on getting the win. He shows up, wins the thing. Days gone by.
Battle for the lead. Nick Massey ripping the high line. David Tooker down low. Tooker going to fall back, now get in line between Massey and Stanley. And guys, obviously this is the old version of Atlanta. I believe you both do have a fair bit of laps around here. What's something that these guys might find a bit challenging this evening?
You said the old version? This is the best version.
I agree, 100%. But yeah, balancing tire management will be the biggest thing. If you're making aggressive moves, you're passing, you're making, not choosing your line and managing it early, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, any track you can go to, and you can use the tires up in 10 laps, and you're doing it, or you can save tires, throttle control. This is a very, very much a driver's track. A lot of fun to race. It's something I wish NASCAR wouldn't have got away from. I feel like it's kind of a clown show there with the new Atlanta.
Just want to point out here, Vincent Isabella already up 11 spots on the day, so great gains here thus far for the driver of the number 82 Mac Machine. Doing a great job working his way forward here today.
And he's been on the top a lot. He's running the top right now still, so he's trying to move forward.
He's up top. Chad Frankenfield up top. And, there was some discussion earlier today. I'm not sure if you guys got to see it, Brent. I think you're on a hiatus from social media at this point. But just something that was mentioned about Chad today was people were trying to figure out how quickly he would wear out his tires running the high lane tonight. And he's up there.
He's got a big run here. Watch this on Fode. No, Fode's just going to pull to the bottom.
That is a pass for 5th here if Frankenfield's able to complete it. Up 13 spots already. Isabella up 15 on the day. So great gains thus far by those drivers as they work their way forward. But as I mentioned, the tires, those are going to fall off as we go along here today.
Yeah, Chad's running a carbon copy at the start of the Homestead race a few weeks back. Well, he's running the high line already.
As we hear drivers exchanging pleasantries throughout the race. Braxton DeWeese, Tate Lytle. Here comes Chad ripping it on the high side once again. He has Vincent Isabella just behind him. Nearly contact there. Isabella down to the inside. Tate Lytle telling Chad Frankenfield the strategy might not be the best here tonight.
Well, we saw what happened at Homestead, and he dropped like a rock really quickly once his rear is burnt off.
So I want to point out a couple drivers in the field here tonight. You look at the drivers that have locked in, Ethan Stanley, Tyler Fode, they're running up front. You look for drivers that are currently inside the playoffs, but trying to save their stuff, work their way forward. Ethan Burrell, 14th, down 7 spots. Matthew Weeks, 16, down 7 spots. So these drivers falling backwards. Meanwhile, the drivers on the outside looking in, Scott Crump needs to win to lock in. Chad Frankenfield needs to win to lock in. Justin Fuller also needs to win to lock in. Currently all running inside the top 10. So you're seeing different strategies amongst the playoff drivers here tonight. What's best for them? What's best for their situation?
Yeah, this is one of the best things about this track. It's just how you play the game early determines how you run late.
Now, guys, at this point in the race, since everything's kind of, it hasn't really single filed out. We have some battles here, Hunter Smith, Tyler Pop, but things have settled down a little bit from the start. Is there a driver you want to ride on board with here for a lap?
just pick a random number.
Random number here tonight. Let's go with a guy that had a very strong run in qualifying early on, then kind of fell off a little bit towards the end. We're going to go with a Leighton Norgard there, currently running back in the 21st position. So you're going to see him drive his way up through the field just behind the 88 of Trey Holmes, just ahead of him, Seth Rawls. Behind Leighton is where you find Trey Eidson, one of the playoff drivers, with Michael Hosick behind him in the 23rd spot. As we have a lead change to jump away there, I do apologize. It is Scott Crump now to the lead ahead of David Tooker. Crump going to slide up nearly into Tooker. Tooker riding the high side here, Chris, right?
Yeah, Tooker looking on the top side, Crump looking on the bottom. Must win for Crump. Tooker didn't put up too much of a fight. He's trying to save his tires. I think Crump's still running pretty hard. But you can see the way Crump pushes up out of 2 there. That tells me he's already starting to slide up off the corner.
Yeah,
we'll see how long he can keep this pace up.
Yeah, he's racing to not to my surprise. It's like he has a chip on his shoulder tonight.
You got to remember that these guys know the situation. Everyone in the field knows the situation, what's going on with the drivers, you know, who needs to win, who doesn't, and whatnot. They know Scott Crump's going to be driving with a chip on his shoulder, like you guys mentioned, currently out front, needs to win the race in order to even have a thought of advancing in the championship. As we look a little bit further back, Chad and Vincent kind of stabilized 5th and 6th there. Jay Connor just behind them. But everyone knows big picture racing here today is going to be the key to success. And just one race to go in the 2023B Rebilas Photography Grand National Series season.
Yeah, and this is the last race of Elite this week. We won't be back again until, I believe, next Wednesday. So we'll be off for about the next 9 days after this as everyone goes and celebrates Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
And I celebrate Thursday.
Yeah, but it's a full week, you know. We need a full week to have our feast.
That's right. And
we got to cram in like a million football games in it, too.
Oh, man. Yeah, I guess there would be a lot of football Thursday, right?
Yeah.
A couple games on Thursday.
I better set my fantasy lineup.
And I'm going to tell you what, sit down on Friday and tune into Amazon, watch the Black Friday Amazon game, right into the Garth Brooks concert, and right into a Barry Sanders special. So,
you know,
is that the guy that ran for president a couple years ago?
No.
That's the guy who ran all over the NFC North for many years.
Yes, can confirm.
I know who you're talking about. Don't worry. As you see, David Tooker closing in once again on the rear end of Scott Crump. So that battle for the lead kind of diminishing here already as Crump can open up the inside lane. Here comes David Tooker. Tooker down to the bottom. It's Crump up top. Crump's tires probably going away a little bit at this point. Ethan Stanley just behind them, currently running in the 3rd spot as Crump gets a little bit loose up on the high side there. Nick Massey currently hanging out just behind them in the number 48 Lowe's machine. Good to see him on the racetrack. Always nice when we can get a Nick Massey appearance. Last week was up here in the booth with us. Did a great job producing the show last week, and you'll probably see him a little bit more in the ERN booth going forward as he joins Huck and myself and Gerald as producers here at Elite Racing Network. A little bit further back, 3-car battle for the 6th position. Vincent Isabella slides up ahead of Jake Connor. Just on the inside of Connor, there's Tyler Fody. That got really tight, and just behind him is where we find Tate Lytle and Justin Fuller. So now 5 cars under a blanket trying to go for position number 6 off of Vincent Isabella.
Yeah, and that switch is flipped. We talked about it. When Scott made the pass, it looked like he pushed up, and it looked like his tires were wearing out. I think we're seeing the same thing with the 9. We're seeing it with the 82. I venture to see the 15 is going to start coming backwards as well.
Look at how high he's getting, guys. He's just trying to see what he can do. When you see the drivers move up like he has and like Vincent has, you can tell the tires are starting to go away a little bit. You don't necessarily have as much drive on the inside lane as you used to. And this is a track that I've genuinely struggled at over the years. I've flipped over as soon as they brought in the possibility of tires popping in these cars, or well, in iRacing in general. I just went into a corner once, the tire popped, and I flipped over and spun like a top in front of my former league owner. So that was quite the moment.
And 2 cars I'm watching back here too are the 40 and the 2. Probably could throw the 55 in there as well. Those guys sat there and stayed committed to the bottom, really rode, and now it's almost like Daytona or Talladega. The three of them are just kind of moving as one unit and just passing these guys as they fall back.
Yeah, you can see it here. Fody already got by Vincent Isabella. Here comes Tate Lytle. Like you mentioned, Justin Fuller there as well. They're bringing Braxton DeWeese on the inside as well. There you go, DeWeese clan. There's your boy right there, the 27 Janes on Main machine of Braxton DeWeese. But yeah, they're kind of working as a unit, like you mentioned, Chris. That's definitely a good way to describe it. As Tate Lytle taking to the inside of Tyler Fody, they're not able to get there that time, but I would expect Isabella probably within the next 5 to 10 laps to be on the tail end of the top 20.
And we're seeing Chad fall off. Like you said,
Yep.
he's moved up. So he's
Tires
starting to really
definitely going away on
That's
these
right.
machines. And I mean, Chad's up 13 spots from the start of the race. Vincent was up 16, I think, at one point. It's really tough to hold on to these spots. You got to work your absolute tail off to work your way forward, especially at a track like this. Yes, you see these guys running inside, outside, but it's not necessarily helpful.
Yes. As I said earlier, Chad, how he started this race was similar to how he started Homestead, ripping the high line.
See, for me at this point, like, I know for a fact myself, I tear up my tires like no tomorrow as we see a battle for the race lead here. It's Scott Crump on the inside of David Tooker, nearly contact between the 19 and the 90 as Crump working his way up on the inside lane. David Tooker ripping that high side, but I know myself, I would probably have a tire warning at this point in the race. Just cooking that right front way too hard. Chad's still running fifth, but look, there's Tate Lytle already taken to the inside lane. So I would expect Chad Frankenfield outside of the top 10 within the next 2 to 3
nearly had a
laps.
wreck off of 2. Jay just about lost it there. Lost a lot of momentum.
3 wide, guys, just about there. As Johnny Thomas, Matthew Weeks. Shout out to Johnny Thomas, by the way, recent winner in the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. Driving the Belly Up Sports Machine. Again, Belly Up going to be the presenting partner
the 9.
of the
man.
Cup Series next
we're not done
season.
yet.
We are not done yet, Brent Jones. Is Jay going to try to collect that machine? Going to come up ahead of one of the Do Good cars. I believe that's the Do and Do Good in Dustin Dewar. Yes, it is. Dusty on the outside. There's potential that he might have a flat tire on the Jay Connor
I think
machine.
what it is,
but I think
he's
it's
worn out
just
the right rear.
he's hit the
Yeah.
plateau. He's hit the plateau with the tires where they go from kind of being gritty. Oh my gosh.
He's not going to last much longer.
Jay is not going to last much longer. He's either going to end up in the outside wall or firewall deep in somebody else's car at this point with the way that 9 machine's handling. Dustin Dewar slides up ahead of Jay Connor. Oh, Dusty's going to get sideways here, boys.
Man.
Great save by Dustin Dewar. He's going to get behind the barbecue chip man of Joe Francis. Actually going to disappear briefly there. As we jump back up, Vincent Isabella now has fallen all the way back to 13. Chad's still in that 5th spot, but he has some hungry wolves behind him here. Tate Lytle on his inside. He's fixing to be 3 wide here. We're going to jump up to our drone camera as he gets a little bit loose there off the corner. Going to get to the back bumper. Tate Lytle now dives to the inside of the number 2 machine of Lytle. Lytle on the outside. That's Frankenfield down low. There's Justin Fuller just behind them. Fuller going to take to the inside of Frankenfield. We're going to jump to the blimp cam here. Get a high shot as Fody on the outside. Fuller's definitely thinking about diving to the inside of Frankenfield. Now going to go to the outside and see if he can take them 3 wide on the wall.
Yeah, watch how bad Chad gets off turn 2 there. Fuller's going to have a huge run.
Here comes Fuller to his inside now. Frankenfield falling back. Fuller, another must-win driver, pretty much a must-win driver here as he slides up nearly into the side of Frankenfield. They're going to make contact here. Door to door, they were locked together, the 15 and the 55. We had all the 5s right there as Ethan Burrell coming on scene. Now here comes Braxton DeWeese just behind them. Frankenfield's falling back to 8th. He's probably going to be outside the top 10 here momentarily as Burrell, DeWeese, Weeks, Hogan.
Chad hits the
all
wall.
right there. Chad in the outside
Hanley's
wall.
gone on that 15.
I bet
Lots
he
are
pits
gone on
and
that
turns it into a
15.
two-stop. I bet he's going to pit and turn it into a two-stop.
Look, he's taking
peeled
down.
his
He's taking
tires.
down to the bottom lane. Damage on the right side of the 15 of Frankenfield stays out.
Oh, we're wrecking. Vincent Isabella, Trey Eidson,
Oh, trouble!
Tyler Pop, Seth Rawls, Hunter
he's-
Smith.
Oh, that
okay,
was a big
okay,
hit for
Hunter.
Eidson right there. We are under caution here. Caution number 1. All involved in that one. Jonathan Cutlip, Trey Holmes, Trey Eidson, Seth Rawls, Vincent Isabella, Tyler Pop, and Hunter Smith. So we take a look here.
And that was the yellow Chad was looking for right there.
I think
sure.
the 77 ran up on the 28 and just didn't want to check up. And the
Ooh.
13, the 77, the 82 all come together. Trey Holmes gets in there. Seth Rawls. Pop gets around. You think it's only going to be a 4-car crash. The 77 rolls off the brake right here. I believe he rolls off the brake. Comes up and gets clobbered by the 54.
And the Vincent with nowhere to go. Just doesn't seem to see it coming.
So 77 into the back of the 28 there. That's the 13 of Pop on the outside. Pop comes down a
77.
little bit there.
77 just, I think what happened is the 77 didn't want to lift, and then he had to lift all at once, and it shoved the nose up.
And then the 25 and 88 pile into it. That is going to be a big, big deal for a couple of our playoff guys here. As you can see, Eidson was on the outside looking in. Now, likely going to be way on the outside of that one, as I believe he picked up some.
Oh, we got a wreck on pit road
Yeah, I was
here.
gonna say Seth Rawls was in the grass earlier.
Seth Rawls just got churned when the 13 had to. Everybody stacked up.
Oh, ooh.
Oh, man.
Nice car control though.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know why those guys were so surprised by checking up. Okay, I think it was just a pit
We're
road
going to
stack
go
up.
to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll carry you through the middle portions of today's race.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit I.
All right, welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Mark Rebilas Photography Series cutoff race. We're at the 1 to go mark right now with David Tooker leading and Scott Crump leading the field here at the moment. So we just had our first yellow of the race. I feel like this could go two ways. We're going to see a slew of yellows, or this can go green rest for a while here. What do y'all think?
Yeah, Brent, definitely a good call there. Could potentially go one of two ways. This could be a chain of cautions to come, or we could get this one caution out of the way and all of a sudden find ourselves with a nice lengthy green flag run. 66 laps to go as we go green here. David Tooker, the control car on the inside as we are back underway. Great jump by Tooker. Crump a little bit slow on that restart. As we watch behind here, Ethan Stanley on the inside. That's Scott Crump up on the high side trying to work his way forward. We did have the multi-car incident there not too long ago, and then we saw Seth Rawls get hooked on pit road. Just unfortunate. Multiple drivers trying to get to the same spot on pit road as Crump slides up ahead of Nick Massey there. That could have been an incident as Chad going to take to the high side of Tate Lytle. That was aggressive.
He's doing it again. He's wasting no time going back to the high line. Oh, he's loose.
Wow, boys. Chad is on kill.
Welcome back, Chris.
Oh, I was here. I was hitting the wrong button there to talk. I was trying to talk about the wheel spin on the
Chad blinking now.
Yeah, he's back.
And I'll tell you this, Tate won't be happy with what happened there as far as what happened on the front stretch.
Yeah, no, these drivers definitely not going to be overly pleased. Nick Massey coming up to the high lane saying, sorry, boss man, you're not going by. Gets ahead of Chad Frankenfield there. Again, a reminder of the points entering tonight. Ethan Stanley, Tyler Fode locked in. Burrell and Weeks currently in. Hogan, Idson, Frankenfield, Fuller, and Crump essentially need to win, or those other drivers have a very miserable race day.
Yeah, and here comes Chad once again, just super digging.
And just an update, Hunter Smith and Trey Idson still on pit road, tending to repairs. Frankenfield now up to fourth.
He's looking to make it third on the bottom this time.
Dives to the inside, like you mentioned. He's just going to wear his tires out here, guys. And oh, he just said there.
He just gave away his game plan.
He said, I'm not saving tires tonight, boys.
Tonight, he doesn't save tires anytime. Like, that's...
I mean, to be
He
fair,
doesn't have to let us know. That's status quo, right?
Exactly.
That's right. That's right. Taking a look here, Andrew Hardcastle, Leighton Norgard, and Jay Connor all together. A little bit of three-wide dancing towards the back half of the top 15. That got really tight right there as the roof decided to get in the way. So we'll jump back down to our track cams as Connor just behind Michael Hosick now. That's Norgard ahead of Hardcastle. Just about called him Handcastle, because that's not his name. Look at Chad. He's up to second, looking for the lead, guys. Going to the outside of David Tooker. That's Tooker down low in the GoPro car. The 15 kicking the tires machine up top. That's Chad Frankenfield. Bad Chad. Up 17 spots on the day. By far the biggest mover. But we'll see which direction he's moving when it comes to the end of this one. Nick Massey and Tyler Fode duking it out for position number 4. That's Massey up top, Fode down low. Fode gets in line behind Nick Massey as Frankenfield starting to pull away now from David Tooker. 3/10 now, just about 4/10.
Michael Hosick's in the wall here in the 3 and 4. Still in the wall.
Hosick shaking and baking with the outside wall. He licked the stamp and just stuck it to the wall as he comes off of it now on the outside of Braxton Deweese on the inside. Just ahead of them, Andrew Hardcastle, Jay Connor, Matthew Weeks, Leighton Norgard, and Garrison Hogan in the shot. There's Justin Fuller just behind Scott Crump. Crump down 2 spots from the start of the race, was the leader briefly, so does have the bonus point to lead a lap today. As you see Norgard now to the outside of Garrison Hogan. That's your battle for 10th. Norgard just out here chasing trophies today as Garrison Hogan trying to lock into the championship 4. Here comes Norgard now. Great drive tonight by those Abbott Motorsports drivers. Are in or around the top 10 as Norgard and Hardcastle currently 9th and 14th respectively. So good runs.
Yeah, and right now everybody behind Tyler Fode's just
As
lined.
Norgard gets in the
I
wall,
was gonna say, he brushed the wall there.
instant commentator's curse right there.
I think he found that Hossack line from the lap before.
Tyler Pop falling back. Hossack, you just mentioned him. He just about swung it into the outside wall once again. Pop just sending it into the corners.
Change at third, maybe about to be a change at second.
Yeah, Nick Massey to the outside of David Tooker. Tooker down on the inside. Here comes Massey. Massey working the high lane like he's done so far in today's event. He does clear David Tooker. Tooker now, yeah, he does clear him. Just about. Bit of commentary towards the rear. Trey Holmes, Vincent Isabella trying to work their way back after some damage. Here's Braxton DeWeese trying to work his way forward. That's Tyler Pop, Hardcastle, Connor, and Matthew Weeks just ahead of him there. Kind of a gaggle of cars outside the top 10 altogether here.
Battle for 5th.
Yes, we do have a battle for 5th. That's Ethan Burrell, Tyler Fode, and Tate Lytle all together. Just behind them is where we find Scott Crump. Crump just barely cleared himself on Justin Fuller. Fuller's basically Scott Crump. So these two, neither one of them likes to be pushed around.
What they say, personality clashes sometimes are not the best and worst.
Absolutely, Brent Jones, as these guys continue to duke it out now for position number 8 and 9 on the racetrack. Crump up top, Fuller down lows. We jump back up towards the front. Nick Massey closing the gap here a little bit on Chad Frankenfield, kind of staying around 6.5 to 7/10 of a second, but I think Nick Massey is going to be relatively quicker than Chad within the next few laps.
Yeah, you brought up Tyler Pop earlier. He's been ripped on a charge since the restart. I've been noticing since I scrolled back a little further to the field there.
As we hop on board here with Tyler Pop in the Engtal number 13 machine, looks to the outside of Garrison Hogan. Hogan just ahead of him here, as once again Pop gonna take another peek to the outside. Not quite able to get there that time as he gets back in line, currently running in position number 12. Brent Jones as Scott Crump back up on the high side now, just behind Tyler Fode, looking to get by Tate Lytle.
Yeah, I guess Scott decided he was done tire saving. Time to go. Got too far back for his own liking there. And this really hurts the tire saving. When you save tires and then you got to go out here in the non-optimal line to make passes, and it's a little bit of a fight, I mean, that you're basically doing away with the tire saving that you did to an extent.
As we continue to watch here, Scott Crump, Tyler Fode side by side. Tyler Pop enters the picture just a couple cars back here, Brent and Chris, as we mentioned, moving his way forward, and another car moving their way forward. Nick Massey now just about 0.3 of a second behind Chad Frankenfield. I believe Frankenfield's tires have gone in the wrong direction.
Nick's got Tooker not far behind him.
David Tooker running third. Chad nearly into the outside wall now. Gets a little bit bobbled up on exit of the corner. That allows Nick Massey to close that gap a little bit further. Here comes Massey just behind Chad Frankenfield. 0.2 of a second now is the gap. David Tooker just behind him. So this battle definitely heating up. Ethan Stanley not out of the picture either. Only 0.6 of a second behind your race leader, Chad Frankenfield. As Frankenfield goes up top there, his tires have gone away now. Nick Massey takes a peek to the inside. Not able to get there as of yet. as these two duking it out. Top two, Frankenfield, Massey, Tooker, and Stanley, with Ethan Burrell rounding out the top five, halfway in the books. 50 down, 50 to go, and it's Chad Frankenfield in a must-win situation, as I believe he just told Nick Massey to go on by. So the tires gone on the Kicking the Tires machine. He has kicked the tires on that 15 machine as he slides up just ahead of Nick Massey. Massey gonna tuck to the inside.
Oh.
He told him to go high and then decided to slide up in front of him.
Yeah, that's frustrating when somebody, tells you, hey, go around, and then... Oh, maybe he was calling out that he was pitting.
He's going to split this.
As
that's
he
not
does
quite
come
splitting it.
pit side. Well, the only thing he's split is some hairs as David Tooker takes to the inside of Nick Massey.
Yeah, Tooker gets around Nick there. He's asking these tires to do an awful lot, pitting as early as he just did.
It's Nick Massey, David Tooker, Ethan Stanley, your top three. Tooker, your leader once again by a 10.5 over Nick Massey. Of course, these top two in Tooker and Massey not part of the playoff picture here tonight, so they're just out here trying to collect trophies. Ethan Stanley locked into the next round already, and he is looking to the outside of Nick Massey. I think the 48 might be contemplating a pit stop here. As Chad Frankenfield does exit pit lane, 15-second penalty for the 15-second pit stop for the 15 machine, and he comes out a lap down, currently running behind David Carpenter, having to work his way forward to try to get a lap back in that 15 machine. So a lot of work still to do here for Chad Frankenfield if he wants this to work, as we have a side-by-side battle here. Jay Connor, John Cutlip side by side. That's your battle here for position number 15. It's Connor up on the high side, Cutlip down low, as Chad having a little bit of trouble getting by some of these lap cars. Goes by Trey Holmes, goes by Vincent Isabella. Next up is Andrew Hardcastle and Jaden Racimus as he works his way through. Checking for a couple close battles on the track. Tyler Fody, Tate Lytle picking up where they left off. That's your battle for 6th. Fody currently holding the spot over Lytle by about a half a tenth now as Fody clears. Then further back behind them, it's John Cutlip, Jay Connor still continuing that battle as Hossack goes to the outside of Seth Rawls just behind them. Michael Hossack currently running 18th as he's trying to catch up and pass that 17th place Seth Rawls machine. Here comes Frankenfield just behind them, goes to the outside of Dustin Dewar. Now next car he's got to get by is Gerald Campbell. He's going to make a late dive to the inside of the Gerald Campbell machine. Nearly pushes Campbell up the racetrack, so some aggression out of the 15 machine as Hossack and Rawls come together. Frankenfield goes to the inside of them. Chad will have comments
Chad's got to
about
be
that.
aggressive. Chad has to be aggressive now. He's played this strategy. He's got to dig.
He's got to dig for sure. He's got to dig for sure, but you still got to be smart about your moves. Just make sure that you don't do anything too aggressive. I think he's just fine right now as he dives to the inside of Joe Francis. The only thing I worry about is him trying to make a hole on the bottom that's not there, and the driver not being prepared to give it to him, and that leads to a wreck for the 15, which ultimately takes him out of the fight. But we'll keep an eye on the front here and watch for the Frankenfield machine to work his way forward. Nick Massey now falling backwards, currently 4th, about to fall to 5th here as Crump goes to his inside. It's Massey up along the outside while Scott Crump down to the white line. Here comes Justin Fuller ripping the high side a little bit further back. Gotta wonder if his tires are starting to go away. He gets a little bit sideways.
Look
off
at Chad
the corner.
behind these boys.
There's Chad already just about to jump into the top 10 on the racetrack. He's still a lap down, but Frankenfield going to work his way through. Some of these guys will not let him through easily. So this is where it might get tough for Chad Frankenfield, guys. Oh, Fuller comes up to block him a little bit there. Frankenfield now going to have to get through a pack of guys that probably won't just move for him. Nick Massey, Tate Lytle on his outside. Absolutely. Here comes Frankenfield to the inside. Next car up is Tyler Fode, followed by Scott Crump. These two have a little bit of history, boys. But Crump's just going to move out of the way. Crump's in a must-win picture himself. A Leighton Norgard comes to pit road. Crump going to move high, not necessarily just going to let him go, but does move up and out of the way for the 15 of Frankenfield. 40 laps remaining here in the Atlanta 155 out of tonight's 100-lap race. Frankenfield appears to be on tire set number 3 of the day, so just one set remains for him as Frankenfield now going to dive to the inside of our leader, David Tooker. That's Tooker on the outside, just got by
Massey
Ethan Stanley. Here comes Nick Massey to pit road. Massey pit from the tail of the top 10. Chad Frankenfield puts himself back on the lead lap. As we see a little bit further back now, Justin Fuller on the outside. Tate Lytle just now behind Tyler Fode, getting a little bit slideways as Matthew Weeks under pressure from Justin Fuller. Fuller to the high lane. Let's see what Fuller can do. I think he's just trying to preserve at this point until that final pit stop in that number 55 units machine. Nick Massey rejoins the field. He's going to be one lap down. We'll be on the watch for that, see what he can do. Frankenfield's pulled about a straightaway on the leaders to try to get himself back to the tail of the field. He's going to be counting on either the pit strategy to fall his way or a timely caution. Because I think at this point, he's going to have to pit again.
Here comes Fuller. That looks fast.
Fuller to pit
Point out
lane.
again! Just like at Homestead. So
And that is a black flag for Fuller as well.
Justin Fuller speeding on pit road. Him and his teammate with issues here tonight. He's going to pull it into his pit box.
He should be having to serve it, right? Already.
Speeding is a black flag clear, and then you got to do a drive through next time. Alright, well, it's got to get cleared. I'm just sitting here. If you got into your box before the black flag in it, you're gonna get stuff where you're at. Cool.
As Justin Fuller sitting in his pit box, serving his penalty. Side by side for the lead, it's Ethan Stanley, David Tooker. Here comes Ethan Burrell into the picture as well. Scott Crump behind him. We have a gaggle of cars around Tyler Fode, Matthew Weeks and company. So we have a lot of cars in very few spaces out here on the racetrack now as Stanley goes all the way up to the outside wall. Ethan Burrell nearly into the back of him. Watching for Fuller, still serving that penalty on pit road. This will effectively take him out of contention as Stanley and Tooker nearly come together there. David Tooker on the high side. That's Ethan Stanley in the 92 machine just behind him. Blue Egg Marketing on board that one. Blue Egg is the marketing department for small businesses, folks. Small business owners. Blue Egg, your biggest fan as well. Of course, TA Services. We saw their commercial earlier today. And Worldwide Technology Raceway, home to a 1.25-mile oval, 2-mile road course, quarter-mile drag strip, and a state-of-the-art karting facility known as the Kartplex. Check out Worldwide Technology Raceway today. And, of course, Mark J. Rebilas Photography, RebilasPhoto.com for all your photography needs. Those are our sponsors, folks. They pay the bills that make it happen.
Coming in hot.
Looks like Dustin Dewar going to be clear. Makes it down just fine. As we do continue on, it is David Tooker, Ethan Stanley, Ethan Burrell, Scott Crump, and Tyler Fode. Here comes a high-flying Nick Massey to the outside of Scott Crump, trying to get himself back onto the lead lap. Still a little bit of work to do for him. as Ethan Stanley cooking the high lane into the outside wall, nearly down into Nick Massey. So that got a little close there, folks. Potential issues for those guys as Tyler Pop indicates he's coming down.
I think Scott Crump. Yeah, here comes Tooker.
Scott Crump, David Tooker to pit road. Great entry by those guys, maximizing.
Okay, spun it out. And he has left.
Trey Holmes with issues entering pit road there tonight. Unfortunate for him. Ethan Stanley, Ethan Burrell, Tyler Fode, Tate Lytle, Garrison Hogan now the top 5, followed by Matthew Weeks, Braxton Deweese, John Cutlip, Jay Connor, and Johnny Thomas as pit cycle does continue here. It's the battle of the Ethans at the front, though. Burrell to the high side, Stanley down on the inside. Stanley's having some issues with his tires here, as we saw over the last handful of laps, as Ethan Burrell gets a little bit slideways behind the Stanley machine. Now dumps to the inside here. Burrell on the inside, Stanley up on the high side. It's going to be a tight battle off of turn number 4 here. Tyler Fode currently holding on to third. Tate Lytle there in the picture. That was a late Norgard going by to put himself back on the lead lap here today once he gets by the Ethans that are currently 1-2 on the track.
Yeah, those Ethans are digging hard right now. Still out here. Not sure how much longer they want to run here with most of the field now cycle through.
Believe somebody just mentioned they were coming to pit road. It might be Tyler Fode. It is not.
I think it was Tooker looking, just calling out that he was going to be up on top with the fresh tires.
That's probably what it is. The battle does continue here, though, for the lead. Burrell on the inside, Stanley up
we got
on the
Fuller
high
in
side.
the wall there into one.
Fuller into the outside wall. Hogan lost his hood, but his hood came back, so some magic there.
And still side by side for the lead. What a great battle for the lead. And here comes Fuller trying to get one of his laps back. He is 3 down. This will move him down to 2.
We'll see what Justin Fuller can do here. That's Ethan Stanley just ahead of him. Fuller going to get trapped a little bit here. Nowhere to go for him. Well, never mind. He goes to the high side and gets by. So now Fuller just 2 laps down.
Look at Tooker coming up here.
David Tooker going to the inside lane. Going to continue the battle. Tate Lytle indicates he's coming to pit road. Garrison Hogan, I believe, says he's coming as well. So we're going to bring 2 more
Ethan
cars down
Burrell
pit
nearly
road.
spins. So let's
Burrell.
check out the whole group.
Wow. Great save by Ethan Burrell. Able to gather it back up, work his way safely on the pit road. Cutlip and Francis opt to come to pit road as well. Just an update here. Jaden Racimus hit with a required damage penalty. So potentially for him, it looks like he's got some hood damage. I was going to say potentially a flat tire, but doesn't appear to be the case. Tyler Fode now leads over Ethan Stanley. Matthew Weeks in third. Jake Connor fourth. Forget everything I just said, because here come Fode and Stanley to pit road, as well as Matthew Weeks just behind them.
Weeks made up a ton of time if he doesn't get a speeding penalty.
Whoa.
And Hasek gonna get one.
I was going to say, he came in very fast.
And this is all getting ready to cycle out to Chad Frankenfield, Nick Massey are going to be the battle for the lead here very shortly.
Johnny Thomas, your race leader, as they run ahead of Gerald Campbell, who's a good bit back. Dave Carpenter in third.
Hey, didn't we just see this strategy play out for Johnny not long ago?
We did, but Thomas last pit on lap 31, so definitely going to be coming back to pit road eventually in that machine. Just an update there. Michael Hasek did get a speeding penalty on pit road, having to serve a drive-through penalty this time by. Vincent Isabella staying out. Dave Carpenter going to stay out as well as Gerald Campbell and Johnny Thomas. We're 23 laps remaining here in the penultimate race of the season.
Michael got a speeding penalty, and he had to serve that pass through. He was just about speeding on the pass.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was watching again through our makeshift cone cam on my POV, and dang.
As Hossack does clear pit lane, he has cleared his penalty. Johnny Thomas continuing to lead over Gerald Campbell and David Carpenter. Vincent Isabella, Chad Frankville, Nick Massey, David Tooker, Scott Crump, Leighton Norgard, and Tyler Pup. The top 10 as here comes, I believe that to be Joe Francis to the inside of Johnny Thomas.
And Nick Massey and Chad Frankenfield are about to be the battle for the lead here when pit stops cycle through.
I still think Chad's going to have to come back down one more time here.
But he can make it on fuel. That's not a question.
He's not going to be able to make it on tires. No way. There is no way he can make this on tires, I'm telling you. Thomas, Campbell, Carpenter, Isabella, Massey, as we're going to come around to just 20 laps to go here. As Thomas moves out of the way of Jay Connor. Connor to his outside now. Johnny still your leader by 3.5 seconds over Gerald Campbell. 5.5 over Dave Carpenter. 7.5 over Vincent Isabella. And, well, 13.5 over Nicholas Massey. And as we're wrapping up this pit cycle, we're going to step away for one final time. When we come back, we'll take you to what should be the conclusion of the Atlanta 155 right here on the Elite Racing Network. Don't go anywhere as Gerald Campbell comes to pit road from second.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.
And we are back here as Chad Frankenfield's putting up a fight here with Scott Crump, but don't know how much of a fight he'll be able to put up. Scott has got way fresher tires. Still have 3 cars left to go through a pit cycle as well. We've still got Johnny Thomas, David Carpenter, Vincent Isabella. Nick Massey is the first car that can make it, but that's about to change. Tooker is getting ready to pass him on fresher tires. Crump won't be far behind. Chad's really backing up. Chad's really looking for a caution. Nick's looking for a caution to win.
Yeah.
And these guys out front, these front 3 also would love to see the yellow flag. A lot of people would like to see a yellow flag. Tooker, Crump, probably not so much.
Yeah, these guys definitely looking for a caution here. Brent Jones and Chris Wright, as we're getting down to the late stages of today's event. A couple different pit strategies in play with just 15 now coming to 14 laps to go. Johnny Thomas does lead, and if we stay green here and he's able to make it to the end,
He won't make it to the end. I think he's just trying to play the same strategy that he
I
played.
don't think he can make it to the end. But if we get a caution within like the next 5-6 laps, you're going to have a handful of guys, if not everyone's going to come down if they have a set of tires remaining.
Oh yeah, caution comes out now. Everybody.
And he's got a great strategy. Because you got to think too. Sorry, Brent, I'll come back to you in just 1 second. You got to think Johnny Thomas also started in the 8th position here tonight. So his pit box is right towards the front of the grid. So he's not even going to lose those spots on pit road either.
Yeah, and it's all about timing too. You're seeing Vincent already swallowed up some of the guys on fresher tires. It's all about timing with this also. Like it's only ticking time.
Oh, Scott, Chad Frankenfield and Garrison Hogan. Wow.
So you just named like everybody in the book, Chris, right?
Sorry. I was looking for Chad. I was looking at
Somebody did something here, boys, and I think it was Chad because he's falling back. He's outside the top 10 now. He's going to quick. Oh, Braxton DeWeese. Braxton DeWeese nearly hooks himself off the nose of Tyler Fode in the 40. Wow. Chad with a big energy move right there. Crossing over in front of Tyler Fode and Braxton DeWeese. I don't know what's happening with the 15. But he
pitted really early.
He's sliding a little bit here, boys. Watch that 15 to potentially be the next tally on the racetrack. Oh no, Ethan Stanley briefly disappears there. He gathers it back up. Johnny Thomas still leads, still 6.5 seconds over Dave Carpenter. David Tooker third. I see a bit of a jumble here, but that's just this, whatever this is in the midfield. As Frankenfield, guys, has now fallen back to 15th. He's trying to send that thing sideways, I think, with the way that he's driving that car, because that is not handling very well whatsoever. We're coming around to 10 to go. This time by for Jonathan Thomas, your race leader.
Ooh, the Ethans nearly came together.
I'm Carp.
71 pitting. Here comes David Carpenter to pit road.
Oh, wrecking Tyler Fode head on in the wall. Ethan Burrell, Tyler Pop,
it was only a matter
Braxton
of time.
DeWeese.
Wow. Wow.
Oh.
Okay, this changes some stuff, guys.
I sure hope Foden does that.
Ooh.
Oh man.
You see the Fode machine come up off the bottom there.
There's nothing left in Fode's car. I'm just being honest here.
They are running in literally the same spot on the racetrack. I have to get another view of that because I think that was netcode that sent them around. Potentially,
Yeah,
maybe
I think they were
not.
just really close. They were just really close to each other.
Yeah, there's about 6 inches of netcode right there that you can see when they make the quote unquote contact between the 37 and the 40. Or 37 and the 40, as Tyler Fode goes into the outside. That's going to destroy Ethan Burrell in the 37 machine after Tyler Pop absolutely destroys him.
I will say, I don't think Fode ever was going to make the bottom, but I don't think he was coming up anymore either, so that was definite netcode there. I don't think there was going to be contact without that netcode.
I think I just called that the Fode of Tyler 40 as the cause of that one. We're going to watch the exit of pit road here, boys, because this may get interesting.
That's 2 tires on Ethan Stanley.
Ooh.
What happened to Johnny Thomas there on pit road?
Might have been slow in. Let me watch.
Thomas falls back to 7th.
Oh, he overshot. He slid through his pit box.
Yeah, I was gonna say there. He was way ahead of like half the guys that beat him there.
That was quite the incident right there, guys, between Fode and Burrell. that unfortunately caused multiple guys to have race-ending damage. Ethan Burrell, Tyler Pop, Tyler Fody, all done for the day here, most likely with required damage. So definitely a game changer with playoff implications. As once again, we are going to take a look at the points entering tonight. You see Ethan Burrell as the bubble guy. 14 points behind him was Hogan. Eidson pretty much out of it now. Frankenfield was 22 back. As of right now, the final spot would go to Garrison Hogan. Just barely.
I'm going to tell
over
you,
Ethan
we're
Burrell.
going to see something on this restart. With
Yep.
Ethan Stanley taking 2 tires, we've seen them have trouble getting through the gears tonight on first
Yeah,
lap.
I was gonna say at the start of this race, this track with this car combination, particularly even on fresh tires, is treacherous.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an interesting restart here, boys. Second caution of the day. 7 laps to go. Ethan Stanley, Scott Crump, David Tooker, Tate Lytle, Garrison Hogan, Nick Massey, Johnny Thomas, Matthew Weeks, John Cutlip, and Braxton DeWeese, the top 10. Just outside is the hungry man himself, Chad Frankenfield, that is trying to work his way forward. Ethan Burrell, with his issues, currently scored 21st on the racetrack. Chad was 22 back. And Burrell's on the racetrack, guys. Burrell got his required damage fixed. Still heavily damaged, though. This is going to be interesting, boys. We're going to restart with 5 laps to go. Brent Jones, Chris Wright, anyone watching at home, what do we think is going to be the deal here tonight? Do we expect these guys to make it to the end?
Just gonna just watch. This is just gonna be.
I
fun
expect
regardless.
Ethan Stanley, if he doesn't spin, to be very close to spinning out here on the restart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens, guys, as we're preparing to go green once again. As we get set, pace car off. Ethan Stanley, the control car on the inside. Scott Crump up on the outside. Crump spins his wheels as we are back underway. Lots of wheel spin towards the front. David Tooker takes to the middle.
I am shocked Stanley's held on for this long up front.
Out front, it is Scott Crump, the leader. Tate Lytle, Ethan Stanley just behind him. 4 to go this time. If Scott Crump wins, he takes the last spot in the playoffs. Garrison Hogan now up into the top 5. He wants that last spot. Ethan Stanley and Nick Massey gonna try to keep Garrison Hogan back from his opportunity to work his way up to the front, as Crump about to be under fire from last night's winner, Tate Lytle. Lytle played the upset card last night as Massey into the outside wall. 3 to go. This time it's Scott Crump out front. Tate Lytle trying everything he can to run him down. Lytle up to the outside wall. Tooker down on the inside. They're side by side for a second as they're working their way down off of turn number 2. They're going to head towards Scott Crump as they work their way down the back straightaway. This time popsicle sticks are about to come out of the freezer. And he just played.
He's gonna save it.
Chad down on the apron. He's coming back up onto the racetrack. Gathers it back up. We'll come back to that one shortly as Crump and Lytle, the top 2, battling it out for the win. It's Scott Crump out from popsicle sticks were displayed that time by Lytle into the outside wall. This might be what Scott Crump needs to pull away here and set sail, boys, as Lytle and took her side by side just about for second. Lytle clears. He's going to set sail. 1 lap to go. This time by the white flag displayed for Scott Crump. He was on the sidelines last week after a 1-week suspension. Now finds himself in the spot he needs to be to work his way into the Championship 4 here in the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series. And he is just 2 corners away from locking in alongside Trey Eidson and Justin Fuller. And I do believe Matthew Weeks will hold on to the final spot. Off at turn number 4 for the final time. Scott Crump, boys, takes the victory.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. That is what Crump needed right there, guys.
Wow, I can't. Scott Crump just. I can't believe it. Scott went out here, got the win. Tate Lytle second. Nick Massey. Ethan Burrell. I mean, we got to check and see if he's made it after.
I don't believe he has. I believe that Matthew Weeks is going to get the final spot. Let's go back and see if we can see the issue with Chad Frankenfield with about 2 laps to go. Watching the 15 machine on the inside. There's Seth Rawls up on his outside. Braxton DeWeese just ahead of them. Chad down on the inside. Full sending it there.
Oh, just some netcode. Right as the 25 was going to push to 27.
Yeah, just some netcode. Unfortunate there for those guys. As Scott Crump going to burn it down, rightfully so, guys, as he has locked himself into the final 4. As we await our top 3 finishers, we're going to step away for another quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk to Nick Massey, Tate Lytle, and your winner, Scott Crump.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel.
And we are back here. It is the Atlanta 155. And now standing by with our 3rd place finisher, Nick Massey, is my friend Chris Wright.
Well, Nick, it was a solid night. You ran up at the front, top 3, top 5 most of the race. You had that one run there where you started falling back, maybe abused the tires too much. But take us through the night, ultimately catching that timely caution there and having a shot to win there in those last 5 laps. What more could you have done?
Yeah, it was a fun night. The car was setup was really fun to drive, tire conservation and sliding off the corner, and it was a good battle up there trying to kind of pick and choose on how hard you wanted to run and how hard you thought the other guys were running. I mean, Tucker and Tate and all those guys up there did a great job saving tires and had fun battling those guys all night. And then yeah, we had that caution like lap 33 or something like that. And then I thought I was gonna pit at like lap 66. I was like, I'll go a little harder here and try to see if I can take the lead and maybe drive away or stay up here. And then I got to the lead for like a lap, and then it just started falling off a cliff, so it didn't really work out. And then kind of got lucky with that caution there at the end because we were probably not going to hang on to the top 5, and yeah, able to stay clean on that restart there and have fun battling Tucker and Tate and those guys up there, and yeah, just good run.
Yeah, and you know, you've kind of pick and choose when you've raced this season and all the series, and you know, you got next season coming up. You're going to be taking on a little bit of a production role at Elite Racing Network there for a few races, and just out of curiosity here, you ready to announce any plans for next season just yet on the Cup side? Maybe coming back to full time?
Yeah, well, it's been fun running, picking and choosing. Had some good runs here. Come close to a couple wins. I've had a lot of top 3s and 5s, but can't quite get that win. But yeah, next year gonna be doing full time Xfinity, and then Cup kind of still up in the air, TBD.
Well, we do sure miss you out there running full time because you're a championship driver. So we want you back out there. So I think you should go ahead and commit to Cup and Xfinity. What do you think?
Where are you and Robert Hill up here in cahoots in the booth? I know Robert's been Robert's been pinging me almost daily.
And it's belly up coming on board next season. Like, it's going to be a great time. You're going to want to be full time next season. I'm telling you.
I know. I'm looking forward to belly up coming on. A lot of good things coming, and it's going to be cool. All the behind the scenes stuff and podcasts and videos that they're going to do. I mean, it was fun having them on board in Erska, and I know they did a great job over there. So I know Elite's going to be taken to the next level with those guys. So definitely looking forward to it.
Well, all right, Nick. Before we let you jump out of here, we won't use any more peer pressure on you. Any sponsors you want to thank? Shout out you want to give?
Yeah, shout out to you, kind of crew chiefing on the side up here from the booth. You know, shout out to Johnny. I was racing Johnny tonight. Definitely congrats to Scott. You know, he kind of put in a must win there and went out and got it done. So he's gonna be able to race for a championship. So that's pretty cool for him. And you know, definitely congrats to Tate and Tucker and those guys too. That was fun racing all those guys up there.
Well, all right, Nick. Congrats on the run. We look forward to seeing you next season. Maybe even next week. We'll see.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
And now we have second place finisher Tate Lytle. Tate Lytle, you're my pick. What happened tonight?
The 40 went to 37 and brought out a yellow. That's what happened.
Oof. Tell us how the set and the car drove tonight. I've heard some positive things about it.
I mean, it was fine. It was fun. Yeah. Had the strategy played right. If we didn't get a caution with 7 to go every week in this series, we'd be talking about a couple victories. But I don't know. I was side by side with Crump when the caution came out, and 4 or 5 tenths faster than the leader, and thought we were gonna be able to go win a race. Thought the same thing last week, and for whatever reason, someone's just got a wreck with 10 to go, and I don't know. Real convenient.
It's just unfortunate there. That last restart, did you think you were going to get through one lap of that? But the leader staying on 2 tires there.
I mean, I knew I was on the outside. I was fine, and I knew that he was going to park the bus and let the 90 go, and that's exactly what happened. So it's, I don't know, real convenient.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it looked like you were a strong car out there, and I just unfortunately everything happened. You know, your sponsors, people you want to shout out real quick?
Hey, yeah, shout out to my dad for watching me race fake race cars twice a week, every week for like last 3 years. Shout out to Ethan for good season. Kind of got screwed there at the end, but I mean, us Pro Edge guys, we always seem to put our face in it at the end. So hopefully we can continue to do that. And shout out days gone by, Brent Wentz. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a good thing if you're bummed with second. I think it's just the series of events that has me kind of irritated.
Yeah, 10 on that. By the way, I miss Brent Wentz every day. Tell him I said hi. Good run tonight otherwise, Tate. We'll hopefully see you out there next week, Wednesday?
Hey, real quick before Tate jumps out of here, Tate, I believe next week is sponsored by Days Gone By Championship Week, right?
It's in 2 weeks, yeah, but yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that? You know, this last race before we start Championship Week.
I mean, hey, we got. I think it's actually 3 weeks technically. 2 weeks? I can't remember. But
You and me both.
anyway, yeah, Brent Wentz's big sponsor of that Sunday, whatever Sunday that is. Trucks will be running for championship. I'll be cheering for my buddy in the 11, Jonathan Cutlip, and then the following Monday will be this. I'll be cheering for Matthew Weeks in the 11, and then Cup is that same Wednesday. Championship 4 at Charlotte, 300 miles. I'll be rooting for Ethan, and hopefully a couple other Toyotas make it in, but I guess if we're going to be pulling shenanigans, I guess we can pull shenanigans too.
Sounds like we have a battle brewing there. Like I said, good run tonight there, Tate. And we'll
Appreciate
see
you.
Cheers.
Well, we are now joined by race winner coming in the clutch after taking his vacation, sitting on the beach last week. Scott, did you know you were going to win this race? That's why you sat out last week, came in here tonight, just won the thing, moving on to Championship 4 next week.
I knew I was going to have a good shot. Usually pretty quick here at Atlanta. I was worried about being the setup being a little bit on the loose side. Usually that doesn't play to my strong point. I usually do better with a little bit tighter sets, but it worked out.
Talk us through the race here tonight. We saw a lot of comers and goers, a lot of guys fast on fresh tires, a lot of guys saved tires, ran pretty good at the end of a long run. How did you find that nice balance to keep you in the top 2 or 3 all night?
Yeah, trying to stay kind of balanced. I try to, on the first run, try and get a couple positions and just stay out there and just try not to abuse my stuff, but also stay up front. They were definitely catching us right there at the end before we got that caution, which helped out big time. Then the second run, I dropped back on purpose or whatever, and everybody was running a little bit harder, and I started to come through the field or whatever. And yeah, I think I just hit it just a tad bit early. I had to slow up a little bit because Tooker was sideways in front of me getting in the pit, so it cost me a little bit. And then on the run itself, I'm not sure because Tooker started pulling me at the end. I wasn't sure what I was doing it wrong. I'm not sure if he just took less fuel and that helped him out, just tighten him up a little bit. Probably what it was.
Yeah, and winning the thing, moving on to the championship week. What's your outlook here? You know, we got a week off here for Thanksgiving next week, so we have no races the rest of this week. No races again until next Wednesday for the Cup Series. So what's your outlook here as you get ready for the Xfinity Final Four?
I really didn't think I was going to make the Final Four in Xfinity because I haven't been that good all year. I think I should have won like Homestead or whatever, but I finally got a win here and big time. Is the championship at Richmond?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a great question. That's a question for our producer, our wonderful producer, Robert Hill. So he believes yes, Scott.
Yes,
That's what
it's
he
at Richmond, so
Yes, it is confirmed. Affirmative.
I think you can put me as the heavy favorite there.
A heavy favorite, but every race it seems like we're getting that caution inside of 10 to go. So how do you prepare for that? You know, tonight it worked out well for you. You were able to win the race with the late caution. So how do you prepare for that when you're out there racing in the lead versus in, you know, second or third and needing that caution, and when you more than likely know it's coming?
I think at a track like here, you just needed 4 tires. There was no way you were taking 2. Stanley took 2 and then held up long. He fell back pretty quickly. Maybe if it was like a 2-lap shootout, he might have had a chance of staying up there. But Richmond's a whole different. You can take 2 and hold people off. So we get a late caution. It's definitely going to throw a loop. So it's going to depend on how many laps are on the tires and how much left side's wearing, if I can just take rights or whatever to do. Yeah. All I can do is hope for some green flags. I'm really good on the long run there.
All right, Scott, I will hand you off to Brent Jones. Congrats on the win, locking in, and we look forward to seeing you race for a championship in a few weeks.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Scott, that was a pretty methodical race you ran tonight, at least from my eye viewpoint there. Was that the game plan, or you just played it by ear there?
Kind of game plan. I knew the tire wear was big. You really had to save to be fast later in the run. So it was give or take if you wanted to give up a bunch early on and hope a caution doesn't come out and you lose all that track position. Or just go kind of middle where you're kind of up front, but kind of not the fastest either at the end. That's what I was trying to do there. Trying to hold a little bit of track position in case cautions do come out. I'm somewhat close and make a move there. Yeah, that caution definitely won me the race. I wasn't winning. I think Tate was going to win if that caution didn't come out. He was passing me as the caution came out. And I think he ran me down like in a second and a half in like 2 laps. So he was going to get to Tooker easily.
Yeah, he said in his interview you were just about to get passed by him when the all came out, so it was like within seconds of that.
But
A score
yeah, I
essentially.
beat Tooker out the pits too, so that was pretty big. I'm not sure if he gave it to me or what. He just had a slow stop. And then Ethan took 2 and was on the inside. I spun my tires. Like, oh man, I think I just blew this race after I just spun the tires, but I held on just enough to protect Tooker from splitting the middle or somebody going outside of me. And then once I got by Stanley, it was just don't mess up and hold the top. If they were going to pass me, it would have had to be the top.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was some wicked wheel spin on those restarts all night, even on fresh tires, and you were almost a victim of that right at the very end there. Any shout sponsors, people you want to give out real quick?
Yeah, give a shout out to my team, Lake Norman Motorsports. They stuck with me tonight, and yeah, stuck with me all year. Glad we got 3 out of the 4 in the championship this year in Xfinity. So hopefully, one of us will bring it home. Hopefully, we go 1, 2, 3. That'd be nice. Give a shout out to my sponsor, Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. Give a shout out to y'all up in the booth, Robert, Brent, and Chris. Y'all do a pretty good job. Like to listen back. Yeah. Give a shout out to my grandfather watching. The rest of my family is watching, and whoever else is watching. And I guess I'll give a shout out to Chad too. Maybe. I think he was a little upset I won. I don't think he was rooting for me.
Nah, you guys are best friends, man. That's good.
All right, good run tonight there, buddy, and we look forward to seeing you part of the championship battle in 2 weeks' time.
All right. Thank you.
Well, that was your race winner, Scott Crump, also known as Chad's best friend, apparently. As that'll just about do it for us here tonight from Atlanta. Your championship for next week: Ethan, Stanley, Tyler, Fody, Scott Crump, and Matthew Weeks. As we move on to our race at Richmond in 2 weeks, it should be one heck of a battle for the Rebilas Photography Grand National Series title. Brent Jones, any final thoughts from you, my friend?
I think we're looking at some juicy championship races, but the Cup one yet to be decided for at least another week. I think we're already looking at it already in this series. Trucks is probably the most competitive field we've had ever in that series. What can you say about Elite right now? Absolutely.
Chris Wright, what do you got, bud?
Yeah, 8 guys know that they're racing for a championship, 4 in the trucks, 4 in the Xfinity cars here. Still got the Cup one to be decided, and that'll have to sit on the burner here for another, like we mentioned earlier, another 9 days. Everybody's going to go and have Thanksgiving, forget all about it, and then come on back and get ready to jump right in high gear and have 8 guys or 9 guys going for 4 spots there. Then we get to start championship week, like Tate mentioned earlier. Days going by, championship week. Been a big partner of Elite. Going to continue with that. So looking forward to that. Can't wait to get it going. Can't wait to race for a championship and call all these championship races there during that week. It's going to be a fun time in Elite, and then the off season will be here, and it'll be over before you know it, and we'll be back going again in January.
Guys, it's going to be an interesting championship week already. Some drama brewing amongst rival teams and the drivers throughout the field. So, going to be very interesting to see what happens. Of course, next Wednesday night, we come right back for the penultimate race of the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. Then we go to the Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series Championship race, followed by our Rebilas Photography Grand National Series Championship race coming up as well. But that'll do it for us here from Atlanta. On behalf of Chad Frankenfield, Dave Huckleberry, all the administrative team you don't see behind the scenes, and on behalf of Brent Jones, Chris Wright, and myself, Robert Hill Jr., we wish you the best tonight. Brent Jones, send us off, bud. Okay, we're not. Cheers.